Hey. All right. Trying to get somewhere. All right. I was having some technical difficulties with my laptop, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to have the comments on my laptop. And well, Brian, we've been doing great. And in fact, I'll probably have Athena coming on and watching on hers. So she'll be on her laptop. And hey, what's going on from Mexico? Awesome. All right. Well, I can see your comments. So, Matt, how you doing? So I guess what I'll do, since I don't have this working as a two-way, what I might do at 8 o'clock is I might convert this over to a Zoom meeting. But for now, I want to start it off with a Q&A, so you guys can ask questions and I can answer your questions about the Appalachian Trail. For those of you who are unaware of what it is, it's actually a 2,200 mile hike starting at Springer Mountain in Georgia, and it is a continuous trail that leads from Georgia all the way to the state of Maine, to the top of Mount Katahdin and in Baxter Park. And it typically takes 5 to 7 months. I hope to get it done in right around 6, if not sooner. And let's see what else. It passes through 14 states. So, and it's all done by walking there. And you carry everything you are going to use and live with on your back. So, that means, you've got your cook system, your sleep system, your tent, the backpack, your water purification. You do resupplies with food along the way by going into small trail towns. Let's see. Well, thanks, Sean. Thanks. Yep, doing well. Right now, hey, Rob. So right now, I'm 4 days out from leaving, and I leave on Thursday, and I'll be heading up to Springer Mountain area, Georgia. In the background, the Eagle Scout. Yes, it is. Yep, back there. Let's see if I see. Yeah, right there. That's my eagle. Well, thanks, Brian. Let's see. What else going? Oh, as I was saying, yes, I'll be leaving Orlando and driving to Georgia, North Georgia, on Thursday. Friday morning, I'll be checking in to the ATC, or the Appalachian Trail Conservatory, at Amacola Falls State Park. And at the Visitor Center, I'll actually be signing the log book. From there, I'll be going through the famous arch. So if you've ever seen the movie Walk in the Woods with Nick Nolte and Robert Redford, you'll see there's a stone archway. Or if you've ever seen any documentaries about the Appalachian Trail, that's a famous archway that's at Amacola. And you go through there, and what will happen is you'll go from there 8.5 miles, which is called the Approach Trail. Now, the Approach Trail is not officially part of the Appalachian Trail. Hey, Athena. And so that doesn't even count in the 2,200 miles. So that means what will happen is you go and do that part, then you get to the famous marker, which is the White Blaze, number 1, on top of Springer Mountain. And from there, you actually start the trail. Now, Athena and I, back in October, did the entire Approach Trail. We started at Amacola. We went from there all the way to Springer Mountain. From Springer Mountain, we went all the way there to Nile Gap, which is about 31 miles of the trail plus the 8.5 miles. So we did just over 40 miles total. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Leo. And so that way Athena could see what it was going to be like. I got to test out some of my gear, found out what worked, what didn't work, and kind of gave me an idea of what I needed to pack, what I needed to leave home. And as of right now, my pack is right around 40 pounds. That may actually go down to about 35 by the end of this week. I'm going to rearrange things. There's a couple of things I have been kind of up in the air to bring for comfort versus practical use. One of which is an alpaca sleeping bag liner, which although it's nice and cozy, may just be overkill. But it will be on the ready. I do have boxes that will be able to be shipped to me along the way for resupplies. And so, yeah. Don't let me ramble on. I'd love to see some questions. If you've got any about what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it, if anything like that you want to know, let me know. I'd love to answer questions. Yeah, and by the way, water is a very, very important aspect of the trail. Back in October when I wound up having a water purifying system called a Sawyer, and it failed. And if it hadn't been for the generosity of some other hikers that were going the other way, that just happened to have two water purification systems, we would have been in real trouble. So they gave us one and said, yeah, keep it. So going forward, not only do I have one, I have actually three different water purification systems with me this time. I've got the Sawyer, I've got a new one that actually has a rubber flask, and I've got the treatment pills, so I can actually treat the water with pills along the way if I had to. So I have triple redundancy when it comes to water, hence Aquaman. Go figure, right? All right. So again, any questions, guys? Let me hear them. On YouTube, there's a channel that supports the hikers, and in fact, right before I got on here, Athena and I were watching that, and the guy who runs the channel's name is Rambino, and Rambino actually gave me a shout out, so I'm kind of excited, kind of hearing my name, or Aquaman, my trail name, already being talked about. It's kind of cool, so I'm really looking forward to having updates about me along the way. And for those of you who haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, Aquaman on the AT, you can please do that. I'll try to be doing a weekly update on everything that happens along the way. So far, I think I have 13 videos. Now, on Friday, when I do my check-in, we'll probably do a live, kind of like what we're doing right here. So you'll be able to actually watch me go into the Appalachian Trail Visitor Center. You'll get to see me signing the book. You'll get to see me weighing my pack. You'll get to see me at the archway. And for those who may be wondering, yes, I will be bringing a trident with me for the first mile. So yeah, I plan on carrying a trident just for fun. So doing hiker cosplay. So I will have my my Aquaman colors, and I will have a trident with me for the first mile of the trail. So look forward to seeing those photos. Wow, nobody's got any questions. I mean, I don't want to just ramble. I'd love to be able to answer questions. Okay. So, since, the end of December, I've been putting on extra weight. So right now, I'm about 15 or 20 pounds heavier than my normal weight, because I know during the trail I'll be losing a lot of weight, and because I'm going to be doing what they call winter camping and winter hiking, they say you're going to lose even more body fat even faster. So they recommended that you put on weight before hitting the trail so you don't wind up becoming anemic too quickly. because that's a real problem for a lot of hikers, is because your diet pretty much goes to hell while you're on trail. They tell you, if you start off with some meat on your bones, that you're less likely to have problems, and you start developing knee injuries. You'll have less likely you're getting cold. So let's see, the YouTube account. Well, yeah, Brian, if you want, again, you can look it up. It's real easy. It's Aquaman on the AT. So if you look that up, it should be real easy to find. In fact, what I'll do is I'll put it into the chat real quick so you guys can find it. I believe that should do it. Yep, there it is. Alright, so if you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel, there you go. And my buddy Matt, who's my video editor, he put it up there too. So, alright, so if you haven't already subscribed, but by all means, please subscribe. We'd love to have your support along the way while we're watching it. And by the way, my buddy Matt, he goes by the trail name Rucker. He'll be with me for the first day, so you'll probably get to see him in the video as well. Oh, come on, guys! I want to see some questions. People ask, what are you most afraid of on trail? And to be honest, some people will be like, oh, I'm afraid of bears. Oh, I'm afraid of this or that. My biggest fear is actually rattlesnakes. So, Matt sometimes questioning his life choices. Well, hey, I'm not dragging you on the trail. You're doing the trail on your own with me. You agreed to do this, so hopefully it won't be a problem. So, why did I want to do the trail? Well, because I've wanted to do the trail now for about 5 years. In fact, I've been training for 5 years to do it. I've been doing physical training for it, buying the equipment for it, researching the trail. I was actually supposed to do the trail last year. And in February of last year, and again, this was before COVID, my truck started giving me problems. And I wound up having to do some really, really heavy repairs on it. And so I had saved up the money to do the trail, but because of the cost of the repairs, it took a big chunk of my revenue for the trail. And so I basically said, all right, I don't have enough time to save up what I just spent in repairs, so I went ahead and called off the hike. And then a month later, COVID became an issue, and the ATC and the federal government shut down all the federal parks, and the ATC basically told all the hikers to get off trail. So had I started last year, I probably would not have been allowed to finish last year. Now, due to COVID, they are still not recognizing through hikes. So before, if you would hike the entire 2,200 miles, the ATC would give you a certificate, a patch, and basically an attaboy for completing the miles. They recognized your hike. This year, they are refusing to recognize any hiker's miles until COVID is under control. So that has been a very touchy point of contention with the hikers and the ATC. In fact, a lot of people are not even registering their hikes. They're just going. And as of right now, I believe from last year's numbers, and these were people who were registered before COVID, we are up almost 800 hikers more this year. So we're going to probably, by the time the season is in full swing, have over 3,000 people attempting the Appalachian Trail this year. And that'll be almost 1,000 people more than last year's attempt before COVID. And that's a busy trail. Now, historically, make sure I say it right, historically, the Appalachian Trail has a 1 out of 7 completion, meaning out of every 7 people who attempt to do a through hike, only 1 person makes it. Let's see, how many miles a day do I plan to hike? And where do I plan to reach Mount Katahdin? How many miles? Well, that's really kind of given how many days are going to be non-raining days. How many days am I not going to be hiking through snow? How many days am I not going to be summiting, 4,000 to 6,000 mile or 4,000 to 6,000 feet elevation? That's kind of a hard question. I'd like to maintain about a 12 to 15 mile pace initially. Once I get past the Smokies, that could go up into the 20s and be doing on an easy 18 to 24 mile day on average. And my goal is to get to Katahdin in September, beginning of September. So I would like to complete by the 6th of September. So as far as how many miles, that's kind of what the miles could look like. I hope to start off fairly strong, plateau off fairly quickly so that I don't injure my feet or my knees or my hips. And then from there, just play it by ear, or what they call hike your own hike. And again, Mount Katahdin, I'm hoping to make that by September. Let's see. Yeah, the UK, you're in lockdown. I know I've got some friends or relatives through Athena in France, and I know they've been in lockdown, so it's scary. It really, really is scary out there. And a lot of people are getting the vaccines. I'm just not. I'm just not in a position to get it before I leave. So unfortunately, unless I can find it along the way. But I feel it's actually safer for me to not have it, because what happens is a lot of people who are getting vaccinated are going to start letting their guards down. And I think that's actually more dangerous. And so because I won't have the vaccine, I will stay in a state of heightened awareness versus somebody who has it and then they let their guard down and start taking chances. So I would rather just make sure I'm always using hand sanitizer, washing my hands every time I go to a facility or into a town, wearing a mask. I've got 2 masks with me, and I have a tent, so I don't have to be in shelters. I don't have to be in direct contact. I can keep social distancing. So I plan on keeping those practices up throughout so I can come back healthy. So, yes, I'm doing the full Appalachian Trail, and so I'll be I'll be starting on March 6th, and the significance of March 6th is, especially this year, it will be the 15th anniversary of the day my 8-year-old son passed away. So I'm hoping to exchange a negative memory with a positive memory. Let's see. Which states require permits? As of right now, you need permits to go through the Smokies, and that's something you print out along the way. You'll need a permit for the Shenandoah mountain range, and you'll need a 1-day permit in Baxter Park to go up to the summit of Mount Katahdin. So those are the 3 that I know of. All right, how do you make sure you have enough water? Well, there's a guidebook. In fact, this is one of the. I have the digital version. This is the AWOL guide, and in here, as you go along, and again, the digital version is in all color, and it makes it much easier. This is that you follow along, and along here you'll see they have these icons, and you'll find water icons. You'll see a full drop or a partial drop, and what you do is when you find a drop, it'll say it's this mile, and then it'll tell you what you're looking for. And when you get to that mile marker through your GPS, which I'll have on both on my phone, and I carry a GPS tracking device that'll help keep tabs on my location as well. You'll find a spring, you'll find a water source of some type, a spring, a river, might be just something trickling out of the mountainside. And what I have is I've got a bladder that'll fill up, and it's got a filter attached to it. And you fill it up, you squeeze that, and then I have, it's actually a smart water bottle, not like this, but actually a smart water bottle that screws onto it. And I just squeeze the bladder then filters the water, and then I've got filtered water. And I drink about 1 liter an hour when I'm walking. That's a lot of water, but I use a lot of water, so I try to keep about 1 liter an hour as my go-to. Let's see. And let's see. Hey Tracy, how are you going to change your stuff? Or chargers. How are you going to charge your stuff? I have a 20 milliamp battery pack. It's about the size of almost like 2 packs of cigarettes end to end. It weighs quite a bit, but it also will hold a charge it'll charge my phone, my headsets, my headlamp, my GPS tracking system. It'll charge everything I have from 0 all the way up 5 times on one full block charge. And it's a company called Anker, makes it, Anker. And the Anker battery pack now has this super wall charger, and I don't understand the technology and how it works. All I know is it used to take about 8 to 16 hours to charge this battery pack. Now with this new wall charger plugged in with a special cord that it comes with, it'll charge this entire battery pack in 4 hours. So anytime I go into a town, you basically, like, let's say I go into a laundromat to do laundry, they'll have power strips, because every town I go into is a hiker town. Every town has been developed over the years of hikers coming and going. They've learned how to adapt to the hikers, and they want the hikers there because the hikers spend money. The hikers, are their lifeblood, so they take care of the hikers. So as I get into town, you'll find power strips, and you just go up to a power strip, you plug in your charger, and you go do your laundry, or you go to the local grocery store and you buy your supplies for the next 3 or 4 days. They do make solar-powered chargers, but unfortunately, the Appalachian Trail is known as the Green Tunnel because you don't see a lot of sunlight coming through the trees enough to use the solar chargers. I've been on a lot of forums, and people in the past have tried them, and everybody has told me that they wound up sending them home because they just could not get them to work efficiently. You could set up somewhere in the middle of the day, but it takes 3 or 4 hours of good sunlight time with these cells in direct sunlight, and that's just a lot of wasted hiking time. So yeah, it's not going to be well, at the beginning, yes, but unfortunately, it's weight. So when you're carrying a solar charger, it's more weight. It's one more thing to go wrong. It's one more thing you have to keep dry. And from what I understand, I will be wet a lot on the trail. It rains a lot on the trail. So what am I taking for food? Well, most of the food that I take is dehydrated foods. There's a company called Mountain House that makes a lot of them. Ramen noodle becomes a staple. When those run out and you go to the grocery store and you can't find those kind of things, you start making your own type of meals with things like Knorr sides. So if you ever go into the pasta aisle or the rice aisle, you'll find something called Knorr sides. And these are pasta sides. And what these are, they're basically packets, and they've got the noodles and everything in them. All you have to do is pour boiling water into it, stir it up, wait about 10 minutes, and then you're eating, mashed potatoes, or you're eating pasta with Parmesan, or you're eating, Spanish rice. So these are all kind of meals you can make up. Some people will go and get hard sausage and cut hard sausage up, and they'll put that in there for more protein. For breakfast, I'll be using carnation meals that actually have enhanced. Well, I have two different types. I have carnation meals that have protein in them, and I have carnation meals that have probiotics in them, and I'll alternate those each day to keep my system as regular as possible. Let's see, what else will I be eating? Once I get past the cold season, I'll be getting, I'll be using fitness bars as well, protein bars. I've got those. I've got different types. I've got some that are snack, and I have some that are protein. And but once I get past the freezing time of the year, so I don't have to worry about my stuff freezing, I'll be able to get things like pitas and bring peanut butter with me and honey. And you'll take you'll put peanut butter on there, you'll put some honey on there, you roll that up, and that's a high protein, high carb snack. So let's see, how do you deal with climate change as you travel north? Well, you start heavy because of winter, so I have probably about 8 to 10 pounds of gear on me that once it warms up will be mailed home, and I'll mail that stuff as soon as I can. Probably not far past the Smokies. Once I get past the Smokies, I should be in the clear, but again, I'll have to play that by ear. But as far as clothing, I have puffy jackets. I have, actually for camp wear, I have puffy pants. While I'm hiking, I should be warm enough. I've got an alpaca top with a hood on it. I also have a Columbia shell that's lined with Polartec, and it's a semi-dry outer shell. And let's see, I'm starting south and heading north. So I'll be starting in Springer Mountain and heading to Maine. So Georgia to Maine. And that's what they call a NOBO, or northbound. Then you have a SOBO, which is southbound, and then you have a flip-flop. And a flip-flop is somebody who might start at Georgia. They may go to Harper's Ferry, which is about the halfway point. Then they'll move up to Maine, and they'll hike from Maine back to Harper's Ferry. And that way they stay in the best weather possible. And typically people who do that will start later, like in the end of April or beginning of May, so they get the best weather conditions for the entire time. I'm going to be starting with what they call winter, so I'll be actually probably experiencing snow at some point and a lot of sub-freezing temperatures initially. I'll be going through the heat of the summer when I'm in Virginia, through Massachusetts, and getting into Vermont. And then the early part of fall as I get into September and getting up into Maine. So, and of course, once I get to the top of Mount Katahdin, it's going to be cold again. And places like Mount Washington, I'll be experiencing, very cold temperatures. So, let's see if I missed anything. Let's see, would you be able to take some pictures at different locations? Yeah, my phone is going to be I'm going to be vlogging along the way. I'll be taking great photos. I hope to be posting on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Those are my 3 social medias. And if you're not following me on Instagram, it's the Thru Aquaman. Obviously, here on Facebook, it's my normal site. I have a fan page, but I'm not going to be using that for my hiking material. And then on Twitter, it's the King Aquaman. Let's see. Do you mail stuff to yourself before you leave? Kind of yes and no. When I first get up to Georgia, I'll be going to a place. It's called Mountain Crossing, and that's at Nile Gap, which is about 30 miles down the trail. And I'm actually going to be hand delivering a box there and saying, hold this box for me. And I think they charge $1 to hold for 7 days. And it should take me no more than 3 days from the time I start to get there. So that'll be my first resupply. From there, my next resupply will be probably in Hiawassee, Georgia, which is at mile 70, which hopefully from day 3 it'll take me to day 7. I'd like to get there within 4 days. My goal is to make it there in 4 days. So that means only doing 10-mile days. I think I can do 10-mile days, so hopefully, and that box will actually be mailed to that location. And there's a post office there, and I'll just mail it to the post office, and they do hiker mail drops. And if there's stuff in that box that I don't need, I can do what they call bouncing the box. And what I do is I go into the post office, I take what I need out of it. If there's stuff I want to hang on to, but I don't need it now, I can put it in the box, seal the box back up, and say, all right, bounce this box to Nantahala, North Carolina, or what they call the knock, and I'll pick it up there. And you give them a little bit of money, and then they mail that on to the next location. It's a gamble whether or not, one, you're going to get there when the post office is open. God forbid that you get to, it's Friday when you get into town, and you get to town at 5 o'clock on a Friday, and they don't have Saturday mailbox office or a post office hour, then you have to stay in town until Monday morning waiting for the post office to open before you can get your box. And that's even if the box makes it there. Sometimes boxes disappear. So, you may be counting on a resupply, and hopefully it's not something, medically necessary. Some people will mail medications to themselves along the trail. And if they don't get it, they can be in some serious trouble. Luckily, I'm not on any meds, so the only thing I'm going to have mailed to myself is just food and just some of my supplements that I take, my normal supplements, but nothing that's medically necessary. So, but getting back to Malcolm's, getting back for clothing, starting off, I'll be wearing some water-resistant, heavy-duty hiking pants. I plan on staying in pants for the most part of the entire trail because of things like ticks, black flies, mosquitoes. It's just easier to keep things off your legs that way. Now, I could change my mind. I could transition to shorts, when I get to the summer months, if I just find that they're just way too hot. But I do have two different types of pants. I've got a heavyweight pair that I'll be wearing in the winter months, and I have a lightweight pair that I'll be wearing. They're made out of kind of like a nylon. For those of you who grew up in the 80s, you remember parachute pants. They're kind of like parachute pants, actually. So if they get wet, they dry really quick. They have big gusseted pockets on the side that have zippers on them, so I can carry a lot of stuff in the side pockets. And so it makes it for great, they're great pants, and they're rugged. I've worn these things quite a bit. All right. Well, yeah, they do, Daniel. They do have solar-powered chargers, but as I was talking about earlier, unfortunately, there is not enough sunlight getting to these solar chargers while you're hiking. People say, "Oh, you just hook it to your pack." Unfortunately, the Appalachian Trail has a nickname called the Green Tunnel. So you're in a shaded environment a lot, and without putting those chargers out in direct sunlight for 3 or 4 hours at a time, you're not going to get a good charge. And you don't want to waste hiking hours or sunlight hours, because you really don't want to hike in the dark. I do have a headlamp that I wear when it does get dark, but again, that's really pushing your luck to be hiking in the dark. But if those of you who've been on trails in state parks, especially those here in Florida, you'll know that the trails are very well maintained. I mean, they're clean, they're clear. There might be some roots and stuff here and there, but for the most part, they're really nicely maintained. The Appalachian Trail is covered, and I mean absolutely littered, with small rocks and branches and root systems like crazy. So you would think this trail that is traversed by thousands of people over the years would be smooth and clear like a Roman road, and it's not. It's actually it's worse. In October, I literally had to keep my eyes down 80% of the time for fear of misstepping and twisting an ankle. You really have to be on your guard walking the trail, because there are rocks about this big just all over the place. And you would think those would have been kicked off to the side, but they're not. And so I'm going to have to really be keeping an eye on things. There's a big debate amongst a lot of the hikers between wearing boots, traditional hiking boots, and wearing something called trail runners. And I gave trail runners a chance for a while, but not on the Appalachian. I'm actually going to be wearing full height hiking boots by a company called Solomon. And I'll be wearing those until I get through the Smokies. And once I get through the Smokies, I'm transitioning to what they call a mid-high version of the boot. It's lightweight. It's probably about half the weight of the high boot. And it's much more like an athletic shoe built into a boot. And I'll be doing that, again, once I get to Hot Springs, North Carolina. I'll be changing out my footwear and transitioning to lighter stuff for the weather, as I hopefully will be through the worst of it. But if not, I can always have things mailed to me. Just suck it up and embrace the suck until I get there. So let's see. I want to make sure I haven't missed any questions. But as far as mailing stuff like to Virginia or New York, you don't know when you're going to be in certain locations, so it's not advisable to mail things too far ahead. Most times you will only have things mailed like at the most 2 weeks ahead of a time that you predict that you'll be at a certain location. So let's say I plan on being in Harper's Ferry in 3 weeks. Well, I wouldn't have things mailed there because there could be a problem until I'm about 2 weeks out. Because even with the priority box, it's supposed to be there in 2 to 3 days. It's best not to, postal services aren't being what they used to be. And so now you want to give yourself about a week buffer when mailing something to yourself. But again, mailing things home, that's a different story. So let's say I find that I've got one pair of socks and a fleece top that I just don't need. Well, I don't want to carry that for the next 1,000 miles. So what I'll do is I'll just put that in a box and just mail it home and be done with it. So I don't have to carry that extra weight. And what a lot of people don't realize is hikers do live not just in the backcountry, but you also live in hotel rooms quite a bit. So as you go, maybe every 3 or 4 days, you'll stop at a hotel or what they call a hiker hostel, and that's where you'll grab a shower. You'll have to sleep in a real bed or a bunk. The bunks in the hostels are usually like $20 a night, or if you and 2 or 3 other hikers go in, you can get a hotel room for $20-25, and that way you've got cable. You guys each have 2 guys, or 2 people take a bed, and 2 of the hikers will take a floor. And as you travel along, you develop what they call a tramily. And a tramily is your traveling family, and these are usually people that you meet on trail who wind up going at the same pace you do. So you guys learn how to hang out, and hopefully you get along, because nobody wants to hang out with people that they don't get along with. Well, when I get back, at some point I would like to do the Florida Trail. People don't realize that Florida has its own version of a thru hike, and it's called the Florida Trail. And it goes from the end of the Panhandle all the way down to Key West. And I think that would be a fun thing to do. Now, I don't know if I would do it like I'm doing the Appalachian, where I do it all in one time, but I would love to do pieces and parts of it. So, so is it a solo trip, or you're going with others? I'm starting solo, meaning my first day I'm going to have my buddy Matt with me, but he's only going to be with me for one overnight at the most initially, and then I'm on my own. Now, but again, as I said earlier, they've got almost 3,000 hikers doing the Appalachian Trail this year, so that means there's going to be a ton of people out there. So that means you're just going to be passing people, and people are going to be passing you day and night while you're out on the trail. So am I going to be alone where I'm just like, completely alone? Probably not for long, not initially. Now, once I get along the way, and like they say, only about 1 in 7 people complete the entire trail who start. So that means there's a pretty high attrition rate. They say, let's say 100 people start at Springer. Well, by mile 30, which is Neil Gap at Mountain Crossing, they say about half of those people quit. So the first 30 miles, you lose about 50 people who just get out there and realize this just really wasn't what they expected it to be. And so you lose about half those people. So now you've gone from 100 people down to 50 people, and that's only 30 miles. I mean, that's just a little over doing a marathon. And not in one day. This is, they've been out there 3, maybe 4 days to get there. And after 3 or 4 days, they're just like, you know what? This just isn't what it, I didn't think the suck was going to be this bad. I didn't think it was going to be this cold. I didn't think I was going to hurt this much. And they quit. So then going forward, when you get to mile 100, you lose another half. People get to mile 100 and say, you know what? Okay, I did 100 miles. I'm happy. No regrets. I did. It's not 2,200. I did 100. I'm happy. And then they leave. So now you're down to 25 people. And of that 25 people, they say by the time you get to Harper's Ferry, which is the unofficial halfway point of the Appalachian Trail, you've lost another half. So you've gone from 100 to 50 to 25. Now by the time you get to Harper's Ferry, you're down to about 10 to 12 people out of that original 100 that started. And then from Harper's Ferry, which is the halfway point, for another 1,100 miles, you might lose another 3 or 4 from that group through to injury, the Virginia Blues. And the Virginia Blues is what they call the emotional state you get into when you get into Virginia. Virginia, it has the most number of miles. It's the state with the longest number of miles. I think it's just over 500 miles of the trail is through the state of Virginia. And it's not that you're seeing the same thing day in and day out, but what happens is it becomes a job. By the time you get to Virginia, they say the honeymoon is over. And the reality of this is your life. You're living like a homeless person. And you're having to walk every day. You're having to find food. You're having to get a shower. You're having to wash your clothes. You're existing on the trail at that point. And it gets to people, and it really gets people down. And so people just realize, you know what? Why am I doing this? And they give up. So you're going to lose people to that. And again, injuries are still prevalent. You can get a lot of people who will get injured, just in stupid ways, and that takes them off trail. You get people who have loved ones back home who will begin to twist the knife and pressure them. I trained a woman by the name of Barb Abney a few years ago. She was one of my personal training clients, and she got just shy of Harper's Ferry, and the pressure on the home front got to be so much that she finally got off trail and went home. And to this day, it's been a regret that she did not finish it. And she keeps saying, one day I'll go back, one day I'll go back. But the problem is when you get off trail, it's really, really hard to go back. I mean, it takes a lot of nerve to get back on that horse when you walk away from it. So, sorry about that. I didn't mean to go on that little tangent, but I've been training myself. I spent a lot of time hiking alone so that I can get in my own head and know that there's no doubt just hovering around waiting to drive me off trail. Everybody on the home front, my friends and family know not to twist the knife in me and say, hey, it'd be really nice if you were here and all that. I mean, I know the convention circuit will probably pick back up again while I'm gone, which I hope it does. I really do. I mean, I'd love to see everybody getting back out into the cosplay world. And I know I just won't be part of it initially. But hey, you know, I'll come back and I'll be in full Spartan shape. So I'll probably do a Spartan photo shoot. I'm actually looking forward to doing that. You know, once I've, you know, dropped all the weight on trail, and you know, my leg muscles are going to be huge like boulders. So really looking forward to pulling out my Spartan costume and doing a photo shoot as a Spartan when I get back. But, you know, if I get home in time and Dragon Con is going, you know, there's a good chance I'll show up for Dragon Con. I mean, I would love to do San Diego Comic Con, but I really don't think California will be open this year for San Diego Comic Con. New York Comic Con in the fall. I mean, I'll be back for it if it's running. I would love to go and do New York Comic Con this year. So, I'm not opposed to doing cons when I get home. Hopefully I'll be able to. And hopefully, you know, again, at my age, I'll be in probably the best shape that I've been in a long time. So, like I said, you know, I intentionally put on about 15 to 20 pounds just for the trail. And, it's been rough. I hate having extra weight on me. So, see. Oh, Katie. No, my starting time frame, I actually will start this week. So I start March 6th will be my official on the Appalachian Trail start date, and my goal is to be done by September 6th. So that's my projected timeline. I could be much faster than that. There are people who get it done. There have been people getting it done in 100 days, which I think is insane, because I don't think you can really enjoy the trail in 100 days. I think you're just running at that point. And as far as Heather, yeah, I'm doing great. I'm ready for this hike. But again, if I get done, you know, mid-August, and I'm up for it when I get home and Dragon Con is running, I'd love to go. So we'll see. And but I'm not making any plans. I'm not going to tell people, yeah, expect me to be here. I am living in the moment, and I plan on living in the moment while I'm on trail. So I hope to make the most of it. I hope to have a good time on trail. I hope to have some memories that will just, like I said, just be incredible. You know, I had amazing memories from just a week. I can only imagine what 6 months is going to be like. So anyway, but yeah, it's getting real, and I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. I know I'm going to probably unpack and repack my pack probably about 3 or 4 times this week, because I want to make sure muscle memory shows me where things are. So when I'm looking for something in the pitch black in the middle of the woods, I know exactly where I can find something that I need. You know, I'm going to do shake, rattle, and roll tests. I'm going to, you know, put everything on, jump around, you know, just to make sure nothing's banging me in the head, nothing's clanking around that's going to make an annoying sound the whole trip. Yeah, I'll be posting lots and lots of photos. I don't know how often I'll be able to upload, because again, cell signal is touch and go, especially in the south. With I use AT&T, which is not the best carrier. They recommend using Verizon, but let's see. Well, I need to get a new Aquaman costume. Who knows? That's a good thing about spandex. It does conform to your shape, whether you get bigger or smaller. So I may be okay. The leather armor was built for me, so hopefully it will still fit me fine when I get back, if not even better. The good thing is that suit does have adjustments on there all over it, so hopefully I'll be good to go. Let's see. It'll be a fantastic adventure. Stay safe. We love you. Aww. And yes, Christian's ashes are going to be, some of his ashes are going with me. I have a small container that I will be carrying with me, right over my heart, or about as close to my heart as I can get with the strap. And so yeah, he will be watching over me. And again, March 6th will actually mark the 15th anniversary of his passing. So I'm really looking forward to changing something negative to something positive with that date. And but he I've asked him on many occasions to please watch over me and keep me safe. So unlike a lot of people, I think I will be one of the fortunate few that'll have an actual guardian angel watching over me the whole way. Show of hands, how many people would like to see this go to a Zoom meeting? Because I can easily convert this over to Zoom. If anybody would like to do that, so we can make it a little bit more two-way. And if not, I can keep doing it this way. Like I said, I've got my computer up so I can read the comments, but I'm using my phone as the camera. And so yeah, this is crazy. I know it's crazy. I'm excited, but when you plan for 5 years and it finally is coming to reality. On Friday, I had my last pediatric patient, and for about 3 days, every one of them made my life miserable by crying. As I had to tell them, hey guys, this is our last session. This is our last session, for 6 months at least. And had one of them just told me, no, you can't go. I'm not letting you go. You cannot go. And that was rough. I can't tell you how rough that was, to have all these patients that I've been working with for over a year, and you watch these little guys grow, and to have them all just fall apart when they find out you're leaving for 6 months. And then I have one geriatric patient, a guy named Gino, and he turned 90 years old on Saturday, and I took him swimming. So he and I did a 1 kilometer swim on Saturday to celebrate his 90th birthday. And then I got him out of the water, took him up, and everybody was waiting for him. They had a big card and a big party for him. And he's an amazing guy. In fact, he wrote a book about his life, and they read some excerpt from his book. But the funny thing was the other day, Gino said, hey, I watched your videos. And he goes, man, I can't believe you've done everything you've done, and you're only 51. And I said, yeah, Gino, but I'm trying like hell to keep up with you. And we both got a laugh about it. And he goes, I'm going to miss you. I'm really, really going to miss you. And I said, well, Gino, you better hang in there for me, because in 6 months I'm coming back, and I better be able to still, go swimming with you. So I'm hoping that I can motivate him to keep on kicking while I'm gone. And again, when I come back, I know I'll be a different person when I come home. They say every hiker changes in some way, and I'm really hoping for the best. I'm hoping that I come home a much better person than I was when I leave. And not that I'm a bad person, but I want to be even better. And that's part of the reason I'm doing this. I want to be better. And to spend that much time being able to self-reflect, you you have to become better. I mean, you're basically getting, years of therapy in 6 months just by, the views, the agony, the dealing with stress, dealing with the elements, dealing with hunger, dealing with pain, dealing with loneliness, dealing with yourself, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, but with a singular goal of getting from point A to point B, and having the mindset that no matter what, you will not quit. No matter how bad it gets, you will not quit. And you've got to prove that to yourself. And like I said, only 1 in every 7 people who attempt this make it. And I've never been one to quit. I mean, you can see all the stuff behind me. I mean, those are just examples to tell you, I don't quit. And, this, people like, Rick, you should write a book. Well, don't think that it's not already in the works. And this is one of those crowning achievements above so many others that I've already done that will basically help bracket the book the way I want it. Some people do an Ironman and say, oh, there you go, write a book. I swam around Key West. Oh, there you go, write a book. You've done, you were a firefighter, you were a school teacher, you did all these things, write a book. And I haven't done something that I think gives that real change in, not that the death of my son did not polarize my life. It did. Because of the kind of person I was before my son's sickness and the kind of person I was after were very different people. I used to have no problem doing bad things to bad people. And then after my son, I became a polar opposite, and I started to do good things for good people. And got into cosplay and became the kind of person I am today. But this is another one of those life-changing moments. The one with my son, I had no choice. That was forced upon me. And that forced me into a fraternity with people that if I'd had a choice, I would never have rushed. To be a parent of a child who passes away is not something anybody, it's not fair. It's not fair at all. And no parent should have a birth certificate and a death certificate in the same envelope. So, so I didn't get to make the change. That wasn't a personal choice. I didn't get to say, today I'm going to survive the death of my child. This, I get to make that choice. I'm choosing to take myself outside of a comfort zone for an extended amount of time. I mean, anybody can be miserable for a day. Anybody can be miserable for 48 hours and survive. In SEAL training, they talk about guys who go through Hell Week. Hell Week is, it's basically a 6-day ordeal where you have very little sleep, you're cold, wet, sandy the entire time, and you're just miserable. But they tell you that anybody can survive 1 day of that training. But it's when you put that day next to another day, next to another day, that's when people start to quit. Because they cannot rationalize the big picture. And that's the problem. They look at the big picture instead of those who make it break it down into small challenges. Meaning, all right, we just finished breakfast. I just got to make it to lunch. Okay, when I made it to lunch, I just got to make it to dinner. I made it to dinner. I just got to make it to midnight rations. I made it to midnight ration. I just got to make it to sunrise. that's how you survive overwhelming odds, is you mentally break down the agony that you're in. You know, when my son was sick, you don't get to make those kind of breakdowns. You know, while hiking, I can. With hiking, I can say, all right, if I can get from this shelter to this shelter in the pouring rain, you know, I can get out of the rain for a few hours. If I can just get to the next trail town, I can regroup, I can recharge, I can take a hot shower. If I can just make it to this, I can do that. So that will be a challenge that I hope to take on, or that I am taking on. Whereas, like I said, with my son, you couldn't make those kind of decisions. You couldn't say, all right, I'm just going to make it to the next, you know, chemo session. I'm just going to, you know, that was hell. That was absolute hell, watching that. And so that's why I really want this to become such a positive change in my life. My son's passing was an emotional change for me. This I hope to be a positive change. And I hope that it will make me an even better person to those around me. It'll make me appreciate my friendships more. It'll make me appreciate my health and fitness more. It'll make me appreciate the things that I own and the things that I don't need. You know, it'll probably make me much more minimalistic. Because after you live for 6 months with everything you need on your back, consisting of about 40 items, think about, could you live with just 40 items? And that's what I'm going to have to do. Meaning, you know, between your toothbrush, to your socks, to your headset, you know, count up 40 items and say, all right, this is all you can live with for the next 6 months. Can you do that? Under the worst condition, rain, sleet, mud, you know, in some cases snow, in some cases, you know, driving wind, hail, lightning storms, you know, having, you know, getting, you know, stomach problems because, you know, you wound up getting a case of norovirus because somebody, you know, had it and touched a doorknob and you grabbed that doorknob and just forgot to use hand sanitizer after touching a doorknob, you know, and you wind up with norovirus, you know, and that sends you to the toilet and dehydrated for several days until you get that out of your system. I mean, you know, you wind up watching for ticks. You're watching for, I just read a book about a guy who did the AT who actually wound up with the West Nile virus because of a mosquito bite. You know, am I taking precautions? Yes. Do I have, you know, I can't pronounce it. Permethrin. It's a chemical you treat your clothes with, and it stays in your clothes for up to 3 or 4 weeks at a time, and it's a bug repellent. You know, I'll be treating my clothes once I get past the Smokies because, again, I'll be in almost winter conditions until I get to that point, and the chances of being exposed to ticks and mosquitoes and stuff will be minimal. But once I get through, then I'll have my clothes treated with permethrin. I have DEET lotion, so if I do transition to shorts, you know, I'll be putting, you know, DEET lotion on like the back of my neck, along my legs, you know, in areas of the body where, you know, I might wind up getting a tick that I can't see. And for those of you who don't know, Lyme disease is on the rise. It's a very, very big problem for hikers, and the problem is a tick takes about 30 to 36 hours having a tick on you before the Lyme disease gets into your bloodstream. That means that tick has to have been on your body for more than a day before you actually contract. It's not like a mosquito that, you know, as soon as it lands on you, you know, it can give you, you know, malaria or West Nile virus or whatever disease it carries. A tick has to be on you for a long time. So that's why every day it's diligent that you have to be checking your body in all kinds of places. And the tick can be as small as a speck of pepper all the way up to about the size of, what do they say? They can get to be about as big as this. So, imagine something, I'll put an imprint on here. I won't even imprint on me here. Come on. Something about that size, where that's, but the problem is, it's the little bitty guys, the ticks that are about the size of a piece of black pepper. Those are the ones that are actually more dangerous than the big guys that you can easily see. I have a tick tool. It's a device that you put on and push down, and you slide back, and as you do, it dislodges the head out of the skin. So, I have one of those with me. There's a medication out there called doxycycline that I'm going to probably get a prescription for, that if you do have a tick bite, you get sometimes what they call the bullseye. You'll start to see a bullseye ring, and that means that the infection has started. And if you take doxycycline, you can actually cut off Lyme disease by destroying the proteins inside the virus. So, again, way too much information. But, again, these are things I've had to research along the way. And so many things you've got to be prepared for. And I went into REI here in Orlando. We've got one in Winter Park, and brought my backpack in and went through my pack with one of the guys, a guy named Randy, who actually did the thru hike a few years ago. And I said, all right, be honest, and I want you to be completely honest. What do you see in this pack that should be in here, and what do you think shouldn't be in here? And by the time we were done, he goes, you got about 15 pounds of just in case in your backpack. And he goes, you'll get to mile 100, you're going to repack this pack, and you're going to find that you've got about 15 pounds of stuff that you're going to send home. He goes, I'm not telling you right now not to bring it. I'm just telling you that that you've got a lot of contingencies in here. And I told him, I said, you know what? That's my upbringing. That's the Eagle Scout in me. That's the firefighter in me. That's the the medical side of me. He broke out my medical kit, and he goes, you got a lot of stuff in this medical kit. And my kit is literally only about this big, only about that thick, and it's in a side pocket. And I said, you have no idea how much stuff I took out of this already. I said, I had tourniquet, military grade tourniquets with me. I had, compression bandages with me. I had just about a full trauma kit on me when I first started packing. And I really had to second guess a lot of the decisions I made about, what to get rid of, what not to bring with me. In fact, I have a whole pile back here on the floor behind me of medical supplies that I just chose not to bring, because a lot of the hikers, now there are two type of hikers. You've got this group that are known as gram weenies, and I am definitely not a gram weenie. A gram weenie is the guys and girls who go for, it's almost a competition for them. They try to get to the lightest packs possible. And when I say pack, they talk about their base weight. And it literally becomes a competition. How light can they go? Absolutely, how light can they go? And these are people who will cut their toothbrush down. So let's say this is a standard size toothbrush. They'll cut it down to where it's only this much of the toothbrush. They'll cut the whole handle off the toothbrush. They'll take a tube of toothpaste, and they'll take half the toothpaste out, so there's only about 3 days worth of toothpaste in the tube. They'll pack a tent that doesn't use poles. It'll use your hiking poles or your trekking poles as the main supports for their tent. They won't carry a sleeping bag. They'll carry a quilt, because it's half the weight of a sleeping bag. And they get their base weight down. It's like, I have a base weight of 12 pounds, or I have a base weight of 15 pounds. Again, that's without food or water. That's just, that's with everything. I have one pair of clothes, and it's what I'm wearing, and I'll wear that same clothes for 6 months. My shoes, I'll wind up buying 6 pairs of shoes along the way, because I'm going to wear these ultralight, trail runners, but they don't last but 100 miles or 200 miles before you've got to buy new ones, because they just get busted up. And it's just crazy watching these people do their gram weenie stuff. And so I decided to go the other way. I decided the stuff I'm carrying is going to be durable, and when I get to camp, I'm going to be comfortable. Because after a long day of hiking, I want to be comfortable. So, I've got a complete change of clothes. So if I wear clothes set A on day 1, I'll have clothes set B, which will be completely dry and fresh to wear on day 2. And then while I'm hiking those, the clothes from A will have a whole day to dry out. So I'll wear those on the 3rd day. And then the B set will then be on the 4th. So every other day, I'll have a fresh set of clothes, or a semi-fresh set. And then about every 4 to 5 days, you get into town. And when you get into town, you go and do laundry. So all your clothes are fresh and clean. You let your boots or your shoes dry out in a hotel room or in a hostel, hiker hostel. And you go down to town, you go to a real restaurant, you try to find like an all-you-can-eat, you pig out. And even by pigging out, they say the average hiker will burn anywhere between 4,000 and 6,000 calories a day. So the hiker diet becomes that of necessity over health. So you're not out there eating salad, you're not out there eating, just granola and just the most healthy foods. You're eating Twinkies, you're eating Snicker bars, you're drinking, you're double fisting Mountain Dews, you're going to town and you'll order a large pizza and you'll eat it by yourself. And even with those kind of eating habits, you lose weight constantly. So I can't tell you how many photos I've seen of people from the start to the time they get to Harper's Ferry that you'd almost think they were in a concentration camp because of how much weight they've lost. They changed so dramatically with weight loss, and that's why so many people told me before I started to put on weight. And again, it's been miserable having, you feel your gut and it's like, oh my God, I got a belly on me. But every hiker I've talked to who has done a through hike said, don't worry, within 100 miles, that belly will be gone. You will lose literally a pound a day on the trail. And until your body finally settles into your hiker body. And they say by the time you're done with the Smokies, you've got basically a machine. Your body becomes a hiking machine. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's been a long time since I've had my body in a machine level of fitness. I think the last time I had it at that setup was when I was doing Ironman triathlons. And that was a while. And I think, Brian. And again, I hope when I'm putting out my videos that I keep it very entertaining. So, let's see here. Hey, Shaman. I'm doing good. How you do? I hope you're doing well. So, but yeah, again, my videos, what I plan on doing with the videos is every day I plan on shooting footage with a recap of what happened that day. I hope to have some beautiful, scenic footage of what I got to see for that day. And then at the end of the week, my buddy Rucker, he'll be taking the footage, and then his job will be to kind of put it all together and put it out there. And hopefully every Friday morning, a new video will drop. So if you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. Hit the notification bell. And what will happen is every Friday morning, you'll be able to see what happened from the last Friday to that Friday, basically. So on Thursday night, he'll put together the video of the last week, and Friday drops, and then you'll see what happened for that whole week. You'll see, what towns I went into. You'll see what mountains I climbed. You'll get to, meet the other hikers that I get to hang out with. And again, as you go along, you develop what they call tramilies. And you don't stay with the same people the whole way. Tramilies come and go. You might be with a group for, a week to 10 days. You might be with people for 4 or 5 months. But you can't guarantee who you're going to be with and how long you're going to be with them, because again, so many things change, so many people's lives, chaos theory applies. If you remember the scene with Jeff Goldblum where he puts a drop of water on the hand and says, it goes different ways each time. That's what happens with hikers. Somebody might have, a wedding to go to, or, a sick family member, and so they have to get off trail. And they're off trail for 3 or 4 days or a couple of weeks. But by the time they come back, you're up the trail 2 weeks, and, you'll never see them again. And I've read multiple books now about people's adventures along the trail and how often that happens. Who knows? I might have to come off trail and then, for some reason, and then when I get back to the trail, those people I was hanging out with will be gone. They'll be way up trail, and I'll have to find a whole new group of people to hang out with. So it is, it's a learning experience. It's a social experiment the whole time. And, so we're at the Lucas signed photo. That's up in my son's glass cabinet. So, yeah, that's upstairs. I'd have to open up his glass case for that to get it out. So, but it's there. It's right next to the Mark Hamill signed photo where Mark Hamill made my son a Jedi Knight and sent him that a signed photo. So, yeah, George Lucas. I have my son's photo in the middle. I have George Lucas's signed photo on one side. I have Christian's Jedi Knight certificate from Mark Hamill on the other side. So, but I do have it. It's up there. And then, of course, I have the letter signed by George Lucas from the Rose Bowl parade. And the George Lucas limited edition Stormtrooper action figure with his signature inside as well. So I've got George Lucas's signature on 3 different things. Well, I appreciate that, Christopher. Watching along again. I hope to keep the videos entertaining. By all means, if you do watch one of the episodes, please drop a comment below the video to let me know that you saw it. And because every chance I get to turn on my phone and check, I'll be checking my YouTube comments, and those help. I mean, knowing that I've got people back here supporting me along the way and rooting me on is a big help. And that's what I'm asking you guys to be as my cheerleaders along the way, because that means a lot to me. And I really hope that you guys will be able to help me keep my spirits up. Do I have any doubt that I would falter mentally? No. But you know what? It really does go a long way for morale when you got people like you here, saying, hey, that was an awesome video, or, way to go, or, just, I'm sitting there, maybe I'll be at the top of some mountain in a sleet storm. My clothes are soaked all the way through, the wind's whipping, I can barely keep my hands from shaking. Every inch of my body is soaking wet, and I see, way to go, keep it up, so proud, something like that. And then you realize, it's all worth it. I'm out here living life. I'm doing something. I'm doing something a lot of people wish they would be able to do at some point in their lives. And I'm very humbled when I say this. I understand that what I'm doing is a dream for a lot of people that will never be realized. I don't take it for granted that I'm doing something to a magnitude that people wish they could do, want to do, talk a big game about doing, but never get around to doing it. And then they get to a point in their life and then they start saying, yeah, there was a time I would have done it, or I wish I would have done it, or I probably should have done it, but they never pulled the trigger. And this is one of those things. And and I'm glad that I'm making the attempt. And people say, well, don't call it an attempt. You're doing a through hike, and there's kind of a hiker faux pas that you tell people, I'm doing a through hike, and not until you get way up north and it's within real finishing. Yeah, until that point you say, I'm attempting a through hike. I'm attempting a through hike. Because the moment you say, I'm doing it, they say something happens and you wind up having to quit. So for now, I'm attempting my through hike. And it'll stay as an attempt to do a through hike until I get probably all the way to Maine. Once I'm in Maine, then maybe I'll say, yeah, I'm doing a through hike. Once I've gotten past the 2,000 mark and I only have, 200 miles to go. But they say once you get into the Northeast, you have done the easiest 80% of the trail. So, they say no matter how hard it was for that first 80%, that is just a warm-up to when you get to what they call the whites. And the whites are not to be taken for granted. They will kick your butt even after you've gone almost 2,000 miles. So I'm really making sure that I don't go into the Northeast cocky. I might have, at that point, I'm doing 30-mile days. I'm a hiking machine. And they say you get humbled real quick when you get in there. Pennsylvania is nicknamed Rocksylvania because they say you're just basically bouldering. You're going up boulders day in, day out, day in, day out. You're just climbing rock after rock after rock. And Mount Katahdin is just a big pile of boulders. That's all it is. So when you go to the very end, they say that is the hardest mountain to climb. Out of all the mountains that you climb across the entire Appalachian mountain range, Mount Katahdin is the hardest one to climb, and it's the very last one. So you don't just walk in and cakewalk at the end. You're actually having to bust your ass all the way to the end. And but they say when you get to that sign, and there's a big wooden sign at the top, it's Mount Katahdin sign at the summit. People break down and cry, and like little babies up there. And I don't suspect that I'm not going to be one of those. I know I'll be one of those people. I'll smile as long as I can to get some good photos. But man, I know when it dawns on me what I've accomplished and the emotions hit me, it'll hit me hard. And and people ask, what are you going to do when you get back? Hey, Jeremy. And when I get back, well, one, I got to go right back to work. My caseload, I'm actually on a 6-month sabbatical from work, so they're actually supporting me while I'm gone. As far as yay, go get them. Not like, hey, here's money. I wish they would. I wish they would, keep paying me. But no, I'll actually be, I'll be basically without a job while I'm gone. So everything I'm going to be living on is money I've saved up for the last 2 years. And I've got Athena here holding down the home front, so she'll be taking care of things. And Jeremy, I'll be in Georgia. I'll be in Georgia on Thursday. So I'll be up at the Amacola Falls area on Thursday night, and then I'll be at Amacola State Park on Friday, and then I'll be at the beginning of Springer Mountain on Saturday morning, dark early, for the start. And so when I get back, I'll also be looking into a teaching position, because at that point, one of my goals, long-term goals, is to become a college professor. And so I'll be going into the professor realm, hopefully, if things go well, when I get back. And then I'll, soon after that, probably in the spring of 2022, I hope to start work on my doctorate. And part of this trail will be pre-working on my dissertation idea. So, let's see. Oh, so you have some good recommendations for fattening up while in Atlanta. Well, I don't know if I'll actually be bypassing Atlanta, or I'll be going through. I'm not going to be stopping in Atlanta just because we're getting a late start getting up there. Athena has to work until about noon, and we've got to go from Orlando all the way to North Georgia. So we're not going to be able to hang out in Atlanta. I wish we could, because I'd love to meet up with a bunch of people, but I'm on a time frame. She's on a time frame. So if you want to go up to Amacola and be there on my start date, I'd love to have people show up. So here's what's going to happen on on Friday, the 5th. So I'll be going to Amacola State Park on Friday. Now, there is a visitor center there, and I'll be actually signing in on the official roster, and I'll be assigned a number. It'll be my hiker number. And once I have that, there's a scale outside, and you take your pack, and you weigh your pack, and you basically, that way they kind of have an idea of running total of people's packs, how much are they starting with. Let's see, on Thursday night, I don't know what time we'll be getting in, Jeremy, but we'll be at a hotel Thursday night. Again, I don't know what time we're going to be getting in, but I'll have to let you know, but I'll talk to you on private message. So, oh, excuse me, got one more. Oh, excuse me. Thank you. All right. So Friday morning, around lunchtime, I'll be going over to Amacola, doing the sign in, doing the wait, and then there's something called the Amacola Falls Stairs. It's part of the approach trail, and so leaving the back of Amacola Visitor Center, you go down a trail, and then you get to a set of stairs. And the stairs are, I think, 604 steps going up the falls. And it's literally just going up the falls, 604 steps. And it's part of the approach trail. So I plan on doing that. And then at the top, I'll meet up with Athena, and then her and I are going to go over hold on a second here. Excuse me. Let's see. So then we're going to have lunch at the Amacola Lodge. And then from there, we're going to be going over to Springer Mountain to make sure we know where the parking lot is that I'm actually going to start the hike from. From there, we're going to go to Nile Gap. I'm going to be dropping off a care package for myself for them to hold until I get there, which is the 30-mile mark. So that way, when I get there, I already have a resupply. Oh, funny, Jeremy. No COVID here. I was doing some work earlier, and I realized I had dust on my hands from working on. I was cleaning a windowsill, so I had a bunch of dust on my hand. I didn't realize it. So yeah, those stairs you're talking about, yeah, they're killer. Yeah, Florida allergies, and I do. I seriously have allergies. I actually have to bring with me Zyrtec and Flonase, just to make sure that I'm not constantly just, oh my god, I can't breathe. So, and I actually have a bandana that hangs down on my gear, so if I need to, I can keep that clear. I do have masks with me. But Katie, to answer your question about my starting pack weight, as of right now, my pack is 40 pounds. And that's with water and food for 3 days. And again, along the way, I'll be refilling the water along the way through different natural sources. But right now, I may be taking some stuff out of my pack after my trip to REI. I've been rethinking some of the comfort items, and can I live without them? And if I can, let's go ahead and go light. So that could bring my pack weight down to about 35 pounds, which is right about average for the majority of those hiking who are not the gram weenies. Again, the gram weenies guys drive me nuts because I watch their forums, and again, it's, oh my god, I just bought this, this thing that's 3 ounces, and I'm having to get rid of this because I just added 3 ounces over here, and yes, I understand ounces equal pounds, pounds equal pain, but I've also been conditioning myself for years, so hopefully that won't be a problem, and I'll be able to enjoy carrying that weight. Now, I did a 16-mile hike, 2 weekends ago? Again, and this was in Florida conditions. These weren't up and down mountains, but again, I carried, and at the time I was carrying over 45 pounds. And what happened was I carried my entire pack for 16 miles in the rain, through mud, over roots and sand, and had no problems whatsoever. The next day, I felt great. Let's see. Do I have a GoFundMe page or Amazon wish list so we can support you to help you restock? I don't. But I guess what you can do, if you absolutely want to help me out, is I might put, I don't know if you can have like an Amazon credit where people can just donate to an Amazon account, so you have an account to spend with Amazon. But again, having things shipped is really tricky on trail. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Right now, I'm trying to be self-sufficient on trail. And let's see, PayPal. Okay. And by the way, Matt just put up, I do have a website. And I have a store on the website too. So like this shirt, this logo here, if you want to buy a shirt, you can buy a shirt like this. I have another cool one that has the logo up here, and it has this logo on the back with a big white blaze on it. I have coffee cups. I've got stickers, so you can put a sticker on things. So there's several items in there that you can get. They're pretty cool. And again, I haven't been like heavily promoting it like I probably should be, just because I don't know, I'm not the best person with self-promotion. I really am. I'm not. It might seem like I am, but when it comes to promoting myself, I really don't do a great job, especially if there's money involved. So I will promote myself as a free person to do stuff for people. But when it comes to me asking people for money or help, I try to be as self-sufficient as possible. So, but yeah, I probably will have something set up at some point, like a PayPal account where people can help me out if they want to. And like I said, I'll probably be ordering food or I'll probably be buying food when I go into towns for the most part. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Again, I have a hard time having people help me. I want to know I can do it on my own financially, but as far as emotionally, that's where I'm asking people for help. I want people to be there for me, telling me how much they care, how much they're inspired. That's more to me what will keep me going. So, and I appreciate that, Katie. And I know that you guys want to help me where you can. And I'm not saying it won't come a time where I'll say, hey, I could really use this. If you can help me out, that would be great. And I will. I'll ask. I'm not going to be afraid to ask. But to start with, my mindset is that I've done everything to prepare for this. I want to test it. I want to make sure that I am running on me energy. There are people who have sponsors left and right when they do this hike. They've got somebody sponsoring them with equipment. They have people sponsoring them with food. They have supplements, and they have all these sponsorships. And I thought about going that route, but then you're obligated to these people. You're obligated to these companies. And if something were to happen and I wasn't able to finish, I would feel like a total jerk that I let this company down. So I would rather just be self-dependent, meaning the person I would let down the most is myself, and I'm my worst critic. So I think that to me is worse, is harder than having myself on the hook to somebody else. So, well, I've been on here almost 2 hours, and I appreciate you guys, again, following along and being there for me. So, I've got a few more minutes. We'll wrap it up. I love you guys. I mean, again, I so much appreciate you guys being here for me. I'm going to probably do a live like this type deal on Friday when I'm in Amacola, so you'll actually get to watch me live as I sign in. Again, that'll be around the lunchtime hour. And, you can watch the beginning. As I said, I will be bringing a trident with me on the first mile of both the approach trail, and I'll have my trident with me all the way to the beginning of Springer Mountain. So I'll be doing some little bit of cosplay at the beginning. So I think it'll be cute. It'll be fun. I'm not carrying a trident with me the whole way. It's ridiculous to do. And one, I'm sure somebody would be like, oh, this guy's got a weapon out here. Even though it's it's not a real trident. It's a cosplay prop. So, but still, I look forward to having some fun photos with it. I look forward to some beautiful sunrises, some incredible sunsets. I look forward to your comments. I look forward to the time where I get to really talk to my son. And I know that he won't talk back, but I know that he'll be listening. So, tell me you're going fishing. Sure. Yeah. It's going to be weird. I'm looking forward to the changes that are going to happen. You can think about them, but it won't be until that 6 months are over, and I come home, and I realize how different I've become. So this is kind of like me thinking ahead of time, trying to think, when will it happen? How will it happen? Why did it happen? So, it's gonna be very deep. This isn't a simple transition. This is a life-changing event, and I'm aware of that. and I want to thank you guys for being here along the way. So I love you guys. I'm going to call it here at 9 o'clock. So again, thank you guys so much. I care about you greatly. And yeah, I'll see you on the other side. And watch for me on trail. All right, guys. Love you. Talk to you all soon. Keep me in your prayers. Keep me in your thoughts. Keep me going with your comments on my videos as I go along and my photos as I post. And I'll see you guys out there. All right. Take care, guys. Love you all. Bye-bye. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Hit that notification bell so that way you know exactly when I do drop my next video. And I'll see you guys on the trail. You guys take care.